Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, which means it's time for Eastside Connect. We're connecting over here on the East Side on the 13th of May, and we're having an exciting conversation today about increasing the reach. And we've got some special guest stars who are ESABA members from Family Values for Life, talking about the work that they have done with others on the East Side to really boost their event, their I Love Mom event, their I Heart Mom event. We're starting off with our ESABA sponsors here, as we do at the top of the show. I want to say thank you to Ideal Printers and DB Creative, Harrington Langer and Associates, State Farm, and the Office of Juan Cervantes, the Sane Foundation, M Health Fairview, St. Paul Federal Credit Union, the St. Paul Port Authority, Highway Credit Union, Metropolitan State University, Sunrise Banks, Walters Recycling and Refuse, and Health Partners, as well as Mueller Memorial, a new sponsor. We're going to get them up on this board. So let's meet some of you who are on the show this morning too. If you are a part of an East Side business, go ahead and give us a wave. We've got some East Side businesses out there. There's Darren Varley from DB Creative, also a sponsor. Thanks, Darren. Terry Furlong, Premier Bank. Sure, why not? Terry, are you also a part of a bit? You were a part of a longtime business in the East Metro.
Yes, Furlong's Liquor, right on the corner of 36th and Century. 33
Terrific.
years.
That's great. How many years?
33.
Okay, we're going to honor that for sure. Welcome.
I was 12. I was 12 when I started.
We all age gracefully on the East Side. It's because we're closer to the sunrise. There you go.
Hey.
William, I'd put you in that category as a business, Rainbow International.
And also the newest addition to our team, Rachel. She has a mask on because she's in the front office, but she's a part of our team here at Rainbow, and she's going to be hanging out with us more often here at ESABA. So.
Oh, that's great. Welcome, Rachel. Thanks for the intro, William. Nathan from 11 Wells is on. We're doing business introductions. Hi, Nathan. Okay, we get businesses. How about nonprofits? If you're a part of a nonprofit on the East Side, give us a wave. I see Elaine from Hazel Park Learning Center, Andria and Shateka from Family Values for Life, Kayla and Rebecca from Eastside Elders, Jean from Cornerstone Montessori, Katie Matson Daly from The Beloved, and I'm here from ESABA. So that's good. If you're a part of a public-private partnership that sponsors ESABA and you're just generally warm and lovely people and you're the St. Paul Port Authority, that's Tanya. And Lori, we're glad you're on the show. So good to see you. Lori, you changed your background quickly. You had something else going on in the background there when we started the program. Oh, go ahead and tell us about it.
It was actually my real background. It was scary. You were gonna see like my elliptical and a little corner that's stacked with my daughter's stuff from college when she moved out of her dorm. Really scary stuff. I had to get on that.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining us, with the background sponsored by IKEA or whatever. Okay, we're glad you're here. And we've got Jorge Samperzalaya from Sunray BP, who's also our featured member deal this week. Jorge, glad to have you on the show. You've got 3 member deals running right now. ESABA members and East Side supporters and customers can come on down to the BP. And I think you're running a 10% deal on auto service, a free brake assessment, and something on car washes, which is the perfect season for a car wash.
I think it's buy 9, get 1 free or something like that. Putting me on the spot.
Okay, sorry about that. You can check all those out at ESABA's website. Member deals are a great way that we increase the reach and bounce the money around on the East Side. Jorge, glad you're here. We also have Rosemary. And Rosemary, I'm not sure. Tell us about you.
It's me. I am Rosemary. I am the program director at Northeast Seniors for Better Living. I know, I was just like, I should rename myself. So those of you that don't know who we are, we serve the kind of little corner of the greater East Side and then also Maplewood and North St. Paul. I kind of say we're East Side Elders' little sister. We kind of a lot of the same stuff. We're sister programs. So hi, everybody.
Welcome, Rosemary. Glad to have you on the show. Yes, now I recognize you once your camera's on. We're glad you're here. All right, terrific. Well, we've got a wonderful program today. We're talking with Andria and Shateka to kick us off on this conversation about building the connections that build a stronger East Side. And we're going to focus on their work with the I Heart Mom event. Do we say I Heart Mom? I guess that's one way. That's the way I've been saying it. But it could also be I Love Mom, you know, with that little heart thing going on. But I'd love for Andria or Shateka, whoever would like to kind of start us off, to tell us a little bit about the story of this event and what happened.
Paris, if I may, I'd love to tell you where we've come from, and then let Andria tell you what the event was like this year. So we've been doing a Mother's Day event for years on the East Side, and until now, you all may not have known that. We've been serving single moms since the beginning of our programming, since the beginning of Family Values for Life. So every year we had done some sort of Mother's Day event. And 2018, 2019, you know, we probably maxed out at somewhere between 42 and 50 folks who would come to our event. And we probably had two partners. Mañanas, you know, would help us and partner with us and support us with food. And then we'd have another partner help us with the gifts. And then they didn't even come to the event. They just kind of said, here's what we'd like to do and then have fun. And so 2020, we obviously didn't have one. 2021, we said, we're gonna do this again. And we didn't know how to do it, and the folks would come out. And so Andria, you know, one thing I've learned about her is when I give her something and say, here's what I'd like to see, she takes that and then she throws glitter and flowers and everything else, and she makes it bigger than I would have thought it would have been. And so with that, I'd love for Andria to share just how this thing happened this year.
Thank you, Shateka, and thank you, Paris, as well. And hello to everyone here. My name is Andria. I am the Jumpstart to the New You program coordinator for Family Values for Life. And so Shateka had shared with us some of the programming and events that we're responsible for. And I do have a coworker, her name is Dee. And so her and I both work together. She was unable to be here today. So they normally in the past, like she said, had a Mother's Day event. So I was actually at one of the ESABA meetings several months ago, and someone had made the comment of connecting together. And sometimes in the nonprofit world, you kind of just take what you can and hoard everything because you're not sure when you're going to get something else. And then someone had said, wouldn't it be nice if we maybe shared the information or shared how we can reach these people? Because a lot of times we have the same reach and do the same work. And I said, oh, well, let me see. What about our finances? Let's look about that. Let's look how we can reach more moms and women with resources. And we just came off of a pandemic where we've all had to be inside. Moms had to do triple duty, working from home, schooling, taking care of their kids. It's just been so much. And our program focuses on single and head of household mothers. And the worst thing that could happen is on Mother's Day is that they get overlooked. And I'm sure it's unintentional, but if they have little ones don't know it's Mother's Day unless someone gives them a card or say, you know, let's celebrate mommy. And so I said, okay, let's see if we can pull something together. So Dee and I talked about it, like, how would we do this? What would it look like? So the biggest thing that I wanted moms to have a flower. So I wanted mommies love getting stuff from their kids, right? So I said, I want to have a flower, I want to have a treat, and I want to have a photo booth or some kind of pictures to where they can, you know, just be smiling and be able to be out. And so I reached out to Paris, and I knew he was the connector guru guy. And like 20 minutes later, I get an email with, hey, Andria wants to do, you know, an I Heart Mom event. Let's see what we can do. And I just said, okay, we'll roll with it. And so the partners, you know, people started jumping in, and you can jump in if you have questions or comments. But people just started jumping in and saying, hey, this is what I can do in this space. And the other thing that I did want to do is be able to connect mom to resources. tangible resources. Sometimes we can just say, oh, here's a phone number, call here, or here's this, do that. But then they're not able to actually talk to someone or get the things that they need for themselves and their families. And so we came up with the idea of creating a resource book, and it has all the partners. We were able to, by the end of everything, I think we had 22 partners in the community that came together and blessed the moms. And I don't want to start calling names because I might forget someone, so please forgive me, but I'll see people on here. So I know Elaine jumped in with Hazel Park and she said, I'll take care of the tote bag. So we thought about, hey, let's do a tote bag idea. And I actually, hold on. Mom, can you grab me a tote bag? Oh, Shateka has one. There we go, yes. And so Elaine got on it and helped with the tote bags. And then we had Jean, and she came right behind her and helped. And then Rebecca, we were looking for a location, right? So we said, hey, if we can get a location that, we can get some additional traffic. And then someone had sent me the, at Gustavus Adolphus, they do the food truck. They have like a food truck festival every Sunday from 11 to 7, I believe. Is that right, Rebecca? From 11 to 7, and she's over the East Side Lions Club. And so she says, hey, we can do, free mini donuts. I'm like, bet, everybody likes mini donuts, right? So I said, at that event, if you can't find me, I'll be over there. And then we just talked about like other ways that we can give moms a treat, they can come out. And then, so they also donated hot dogs and hamburgers, or no, not hamburgers, but hot dogs, and then the mini donuts. So then I asked, I said, well, because sometimes it can be a little pricey. So I said, hey, is it just, one per family? She's like, oh gosh, no, everybody gets mini donuts. I said, oh, cool. So that was really awesome. Does anyone have any questions before I go on, or any comments you want to jump in?
Yeah, so and you can also drop comments in the chat. You'll see I dropped our agenda in there as well. So Andrea, you went from 2 partners in this event last year to 22 partners this year as you kind of reached with ESABA. And I know that one of the things that you had usually done, the resource book that you put together with folks and some resources for them, you also made other resources available at the event because partners brought resources as well. Talk about that for a minute.
Absolutely, thank you. So I wanted to, our idea was, because it was COVID, we wanted to be safe. So originally we thought about a drive-through event where people can just drive through, pick up a bag, and kind of keep it moving. As this evolved, more and more partners said, hey, can I come and give information? So like ESNDC, they said, we have a lead program. A lot of moms don't even know about lead poisoning with their children. I said, sure. And then Diva Moms came in, Minnesota Community Care, Merrick, and then even the library. So we wanted to be able to do something for kiddos as well. So if mom is coming, bring in their kids. So Highway Federal jumped in and did a coloring contest. And so the kids were able to do the coloring, turn it in and get either $25, $15, or $10 gift certificate. So that was really awesome. And then the East Side Library came in and they donated 2 different books. They're a part of the, oh goodness, it slips my mind right now, but they're part of a program where they get books and they can give them to the kids. It's like a featured book of the year. And so we were able to get, copies for the moms to do that. And then Johnson High School jumped in, and one other partner came and said, hey, we have these extra books. Can we just bring them, and so that the kids can just pick what they want and they'll be able to read, with their moms and things like that. So that was really awesome. And then we also had someone from rent stabilization to just talk about rent and what does that look like. And so we were able to, and did I mention Minnesota Community Care? Yeah, Minnesota Community Care came in as well. And then we had some COVID resources. And so we ended up setting it up like a fair. And so you walk in, you can register. We wanted to, be able to capture our audience who's there for the day. And then they pick up flowers, they pick up books for their kids, they pick up information. and then they do a photo booth at the end. So when they're done, they all smiles, have a picture, and then they can go outside to the food truck festival. So, and then get the free mini donuts and hot dogs, of course. So yeah, that was that's what we did. And our goal, originally, our goal, we were thinking, I knew from family values we could at least pull 100. And then so once the once the partners start jumping in, said, okay, depending on how many partners we have, I'm sure they can reach out to their audience and bring at least 20 other people. So then we came up with the number of 300. And so we had enough supplies and gifts for 300 moms, and we were actually able to give all of them away, which I was like, what in the world? So I even shocked myself, I think, because sometimes we can bite off a little more than we can chew, but I sure did. I was like, nope, we're able to bless all of these moms with all of the resources. So I'm sure Shateka was happy that I wasn't bringing stuff back to the office. And it was awesome because now we get all of these different community partners into these homes. And so that is the biggest thing that we really wanted, and to be able to let these moms know, like, these are the resources, these are the community partners. So if you need daycare, this is where you go. If you need health, this is where you go, and things like that. So we were really excited about that. Any questions or comments before I move on?
Paris, if I can jump in again. So I think there were a couple of wonderful lessons for us. And one is definitely when we're working together, we increase our reach. Again, we served 50 people at our Mother's Day barbecue in our parking lot, over time, or, per year. But this year that was multiplied by 6. So 6 times what we had normally done, we were able to do, and that was because of the connections Andria made with community partners. The other thing was we were able to stretch dollars, and that's a good thing for funders to see. If a funder is going to give you $5, but you were able to serve people as if you had 1,500, that they'll want to give you their money because they know that you're going to stretch it as far as it can possibly go. And that's exactly how this event looked for us on paper. There were so many things that were given out, so many things that were shared with moms. And so you can list everything that a mother walked away with that day, and then next to it show how much we had to spend on it. And so I think it's a great story for each of the nonprofits who were involved in that to be able to tell your donors and friends that you connected, and maybe something that they've given you were able to stretch quite a bit. And that was a real win, I think, for everyone who's involved. When Andria and I were debriefing or talking a little bit, I told her it reminded me of the story of the stone soup. Do you all remember that, hearing that story when you were a kid, where someone came to town, didn't really have much of anything, and said, well, I've got this stone, can you give me a kettle and some water? And then next thing you know, someone's bringing salt and a little bit of butter. And then this next person in the community brought the carrots, and then the potatoes, and then the beans, and then the chicken, and then the broth. And next thing you know, everyone in the village was able to eat because of everyone putting their hands in and getting involved. And so this event really, just reminded me, because it had been 1.5 years that we've been out and working together with everyone. So it just reminded me what we can do when we all come together and how much bigger the outcome is when we're working together. We all hear teamwork makes the dream work, or we're better together, but it's true. It's not just something that we say because it sounds good. It absolutely is true. And I don't think we could be more thankful or grateful for the community that we get to be in, because I see how much the community members and businesses and nonprofits love the community that they're in, and how willing they are to serve the folks that they serve. So thank you again. It was just a great opportunity for us to see you all again, and then to serve people, and then gives us another thing to be grateful for. So thank you, everyone.
That's great, Shateka.
And with that too, I'd like to piggyback, Shateka, even with the networking. Like, it gave other nonprofits a chance to network and see what they do. And then also just to allow them to sit in the space where they shine best, right? So we had some people, oh, I can do this. Absolutely. Like, oh, does this fit in this space? And then we were able to let them, you know, be who they were and who their organization was. And even when we were packing bags on Friday, we had several businesses and nonprofits come together, and then they were talking like, oh, you do this, I do this, let's connect. And it was just beautiful. And Paris had made a comment like everybody was just so kind. Like I would want to take everybody to lunch if I you know had it like that. But no, for real, everybody just came together, and I loved working with each and every one of you. Everyone was just, it was amazing. And then I see Katie, she said, I'm bummed I missed out. This sounds amazing. Well, guess what? We're doing this again next year. So I think we set the bar pretty high here. And so absolutely, if you want to be a part of this, you're more than welcome.
I agree. There's no turning back now, folks. You were here this year. We're lassoing you in next year.
Well, and this brings up the question that I think helps us go to the next level, and part of what I wanted to focus on today. This is a good example of what can happen on the fly. What do you think, and how do you all hearing this, what does it make you think of in terms of like, well, my group or my business is working on doing this. Who in our network could be a good collaborator? You know, and not just for events. I think there are other things. And William, you've said this for a couple of years. You know, whenever ESABA is doing a big community event, it's an opportunity for a business to come and table and talk too. You know, I mean, those are opportunities that we are not necessarily seeing. What does this kind of collaboration make you think about for your next thing or your business's effort? And so I want to ask folks if they have questions, you know, like, would this work in this case, or you know, what about this kind of thing? Yeah, Elaine.
We're already doing it. A number of you have received notification that we are attempting to get a date to host the vaccine bus in our parking lot at church. Very quickly, we heard from the lead group who said, can we come flyer at that event? Yeah, the answer is yes. We want to serve underserved, the Department of Health wants underserved populations to utilize the bus. And so we are using the ESABA network to say, if your group can publicize this event for us and potentially get people out, this is wonderful. I am so sorry we don't have a date yet. Before Mary left the house here, she's trying to get the date out of Department of Health, and we're hoping to get an answer today. We're shooting at the first week in June, and as soon as we know the date, we'll get it out.
Perfect, Elaine. A great example, right? You're trying to figure out how you boost your reach, and you know that it's not just your own organization that can make that happen. How do we work together to actually make that work? Great.
And it's not just our organization that MDH wants to reach, or the other sponsors of the bus, Blue Cross Blue Shield. There's a long list, and I can't come up with them all easily, but.
Right, and that's fantastic. So that's a great example. When you think about collaborating, are there examples that you think like, well, we learned this from this event? You know, so I'm curious about those who participated, which a lot of you are on this call. This is one thing we learned that we think is good learning for the next thing we might try, or makes me think this is what we should shoot for. Any thoughts about that kind of thinking? Andrea, I'll put that to you and Shateka first, and then like you mentioned, Jean, Rebecca, Elaine, we're all a part of the mobilization for this, and maybe others that I'm not, you know, that I'm just not seeing at the moment on the top of my head here. But what do you think as you think about like, well, this is what it caused me to think of, or this is where I think we learned something that would be helpful for future collaboration?
I think the biggest thing is having a clear vision and mission. And so our vision and our mission aligned together, and it allowed other people to align with the same mission and vision and just kind of jump on board and say, okay, I can align with that mission and that vision, which was to be able to serve single moms or single head of household mothers who may unintentionally get overlooked for Mother's Day. And so that was the main purpose of it. And of course, mommies of, you know, all, backgrounds or whatever. Grandmas came, so it was cool. Some stepmoms came and things like that. So it was good to just be a blessing, to honestly just be a blessing. But when you have a clear mission and a clear vision, and be able to execute that in a way that other people want to jump in and help, I think that definitely plays a huge part. And I think it was perfect timing too, especially with things kind of opening up softly, being able to get together in person. People were looking for something to do, something safe, and to do with their families. And so, this I think was just perfect timing to be able to do something. And it was super short. Normally we try to plan events like 16 weeks out. I think we were right at 5. I think it was like 6, maybe, but it was super quick. But yeah, it was just awesome to have everyone, those who did jump in and be a part of it. And like I said before, people really were kind. And so I think that's what I learned. The biggest thing is to just, and also to ask. You don't get anything by not asking. And so just ask, like, can you help do this? And if they can't, then they may have another suggestion that could be even bigger or better than, what I can say, or say, hey, here's our vision. This is what I'd like. Let me know what you can do, and let them work with it. And so that was awesome.
Nice. Thank you, Andrea. That totally makes sense. Yeah, there were some clear ways that you had positioned the event to involve collaboration. And the other thing that I just witnessed that you also mentioned, like, you had one particular idea. You wanted to provide these 3 things: flowers, a photo booth, and a treat. But you allowed it to go the direction that other collaborators could take it, And so instead of turning into like just a drive-by, here's your, as you go, it turned into this fair. One other thing that I love about this that I want us to think about is you managed to connect it to the food truck event, where there was going to be a natural gathering of a ton of people as well, and a cross benefit, like, how can we think about ways to really activate some of our good work and multiply it by joining in with some of the big highlights that are going on the east side. So Rebecca, was it your connection that brought that food truck component into focus? I think that's what I heard Andrea say.
Yeah, I mean, I just offered to provide the food, the treat part, or one of them anyway. But I had mentioned that there was a food truck event. I think the original place that we were going to be was at Johnson High School parking lot. And then it just ended up being, couldn't get the permits and all that stuff. So we ended up being at this David.
Well, what an awesome combination then to have the food truck event and the giveaway going at the same time. Did you all, feel like that was a benefit?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And we actually started out on the other side of the parking lot. So Gus Davis has 2 parking lots. So we were in the south side, the food truck was in the north side. And so we were just going to say, okay, people can filter over, which they started to. Then it started to rain. So they were our contingency program plan anyway. So once we moved inside, Shateka came, Ashley came, and a few other people, they just started grabbing bags and walked outside and said, hey, have you heard of our program? We're doing an I Heart Mom, feel free to go inside. And so we were able to get some of that traffic, which was awesome as well. And I think one other thing that we could learn, and that's Elijah, so y'all he just turned 2, so you with kiddos, but we said next year, I really would like to align with something like this, a food truck festival, and do it together. So if there's a way that we can be in the same space together, so then we are getting those additional people, but even the people that are coming for the I Heart Mom could support the food trucks, and then vice versa. And so I thought that would be awesome if we could do that next year.
Yeah, that's a great thought, right? And there's business and community groups coming together. If there was a, take this ticket and get some sort of benefit at a food truck, a couple bucks off, something like that, or a free item if they wanted to promote in that way. That's ESABA's working that kind of idea all the time, but there it would be like instant and reciprocal transaction right away. You know, community businesses and community organizations. That's a great idea, Andrea. I hope you can do that.
And if anybody needs it,
and
just
then
put my name on it.
Right.
Family values.
I would like to give a shout out to Andrea, and also I know with any event that there's a lot of behind the scenes happening at Family Values for Life. So I'd like to thank the entire organization of Family Values for Life for supporting Andrea. A couple of things that come to my mind are Andrea had mentioned mission, and I think if we each look at our own missions as nonprofits, there's that element of similarities. And one of the things that I would like to do with the other nonprofits is look at our annual calendars and see if there are other events where we might come together. And it might be maybe a subset of us would come together, or maybe even a larger group. But I think we could look annually and see if there's certain touch points that might make sense for us to do things together.
I would agree 100%. Andrea and I spoke about that, is how do we learn what other organizations are doing so we can be as supportive to others as they have been to us, and building those relationships with other organizations. So we do have an idea of what you do, how you serve, and we can also become referral based, you know, for one another, sending folks who may be beyond our scope of work to someone we know who will do a good job in supporting that family and what they need. Paris, I think you also hit on something that was a great learning when you spoke about what the goal was, those 3 things that she wanted to hit, and the flexibility that she had to allow other people to shine and be there. You know, I have a saying, I say it sometimes to whoever's listening when we're working, but write the plan in sand and the goal in stone. So there might be some changes. If the wind blows or something else happens, you're okay with adjusting the plan a little bit as long as your goal is achieved. And so the goal was achieved and the plan changed a little bit along the way, including the rain. We wanted to be outside, rain came, we moved inside. So just having that flexibility. I think another learning I'm seeing is there was a mindset for nonprofits in the past, as Andrea kind of started with, where we kind of, you know, the resources for nonprofits seem small sometimes. And so you get what you get and you kind of hold it and you hand things out sparingly. But I think there's a shift happening because we're seeing more and more people will come out with what they have. I say to our staff all the time, I don't want to store anything. If someone gives us something, we want to give it away. It doesn't do any good sitting in our closet when there's a family somewhere who needs it. So if we get it, we're giving it. And we don't have room to store it anyway. And I think we're starting to see that a little bit more with other organizations. It used to be a little more difficult. Although I would say this has been changing over time because we have a lot of community resources at our back to school event, but it used to be a little more difficult to get people engaged and other organizations to want to be a part of what you had going on, because I serve this 5, and if I tell you what I do, you might try to do what I do, and then I'm going to lose funding for that. But I think I really am seeing a shift in that, and folks are recognizing collaboration and community and partnership is so much more valuable than the little pieces that we get and can hold, you know, to ourselves.
That's a great point, Shateka. Did someone else?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, listening to the
Tanya.
conversation and, you know, being part of, I have so much joy of being part of ESABA for so many years here. And we often refer to our ESABA family, you know, and this is an example of really how it is our ESABA family. And it's just a great success in how you plant a seed and something beautiful grows.
Thanks, Tanya. Absolutely. And I think the other thing that I see, you know, sometimes we try to hold on to an event and say, well, this was mine and I did this. Versus, you know, the potential that we have of really saying, well, we did this together and it means I didn't have to host my own event all by myself. You know, like, well, great. You know, so you didn't have to have a lead testing only event or a Diva Moms event only. That those things could also be a part of something else that someone else was hosting, means that we didn't have to run our own thing over on the side, maybe. So that's also, I think, a benefit as we figure out how we maximize. And Jean would be a great benefit if we put a calendar together. Oh, well, we know we're going to be at this event and we're doing it together with folks. And we know we'll hit a larger reach because we're with others, is a great benefit too. Okay, there are some questions in the chat that I want to just lift up. There was a whole side conversation about Georgia Fort and her work with media and publicity and with reporting that I think is a great conversation. I'd really like for Georgia to also be an ESABA member, so that's a great direction. I'll be following along to check in with her about that as you make that ask. But is
Paris,
Katie, that sounds like a connection.
Georgia's husband owns a boxing gym on the east side as well. So
yeah, Sir Boxing, that's right. Well, William, did you just step forward there and say you're going to help me make that connection?
I've talked to Georgia in the past, and I think she's just probably super busy because she's been covering that Siobhan trial. So maybe things will settle down and she might have some time or something. I'll talk to her about it.
That's great. Okay, perfect. I love how this group works. So that was a great conversation. We also had a question here. Oh, and Councilmember Jane Prince is on. Councilmember, where are you? Do I see you? Did you have to jump off? Oh, she may have had to go. She says, Andrea and Shateka and everyone, this is a completely inspiring story. This is what makes the East Side so special. So many caring, creative, entrepreneurial, generous people and organizations. Sorry, she has to run. Okay, there. If I'd read her full comment, I would have known what was going on. Thanks, Councilmember Prince, for being here. All right, so we've had some good things happen. We've got some announcements that'd be great to come to, and I'm going to turn to Tanya Bauer here for a minute, and I'll put some announcements in the chat, and then Katie also has an announcement. We can start to shift our conversation, but if you have other ideas about collaboration or about thoughts that help take us to the next level together, it'd be great to also hear any of your questions or comments.
Eris, before you move on, can I say one thing?
Oh, for sure.
It's going to be seen abroad. For those who are not members of ESABA, I wouldn't say this was a new learning, but just a reminder of how important ESABA is to the East Side community. We would have had to make 50 calls to reach each of the folks who connected. But because we have ESABA, because we're members of ESABA, we have access, as Andrea mentioned, to the ESABA Connections Guru, and he made one email. So we save so much time and so much work connecting because we have ESABA and Mr. Paris Dunning. So big kudos and hats off to you. My first connection on the East Side, I don't know, Paris, I think I shared this with you, but Paris made for me. So I feel like I'm ever in debt to Paris because he's just that guy. ESABA is that organization for anyone on the East Side who's not connected to be sure to connect to. There's definitely a benefit for any type of business organization, whoever you are on the East Side, connect to ESABA.
That's great. We're going to pick up just that as for the sizzle reel advertising for ESABA right there. But thank you, Shateka. And this is what an association hopes to do. Yes. Make these connections amongst folks who are looking for something and aren't sure exactly where to find it. And that's our goal for all small businesses and businesses in general. Who are you looking for and who are you trying to connect with? And let's look at ESABA members and see who's in there, because that's why we're all here. That's why those members are here too. They want to make those connections. So when I make that call, it's not going to be like, why are you calling me? No, it's like, oh, well, yeah, of course I'm a part of the association. Of course I want to take your call. So that's one of the great benefits of being a part of an association. Tanya?
So that is a perfect segue into an event and some things I wanted to share from the Port Authority standpoint. As many of you may know, we are in the process of working with the city to master plan a major, wonderful opportunity on the east side of St. Paul for the Hillcrest development. And as part of that, we are engaging, and we would like to invite all of you and invite all of the ESABA members to share some community conversations that the Port Authority has upcoming. I'm going to share my screen here because I'm actually going to probably share the invite in the chat. But those of you may have already started to see some social media that we are working and pushing out, but I'm not able to share my screen. So Paris may be able to share his screen. I shared the invite with him. But the Port Authority, as you know, we are just working on the redevelopment of the Hillcrest site, and we need to hear from the community to better engage. And our goal is to let our neighbors know how community engagement will continue beyond the master plan. And the conversation is going to be focused on opportunities, opportunities, site limitations, and ways that the community can deeply involved in how to bring our master plan to life. So I just wanted to share that we have some upcoming events. One of them will be in person on 2 opportunities to join the conversations. And these are just the very beginning of the seeds of these conversations as we roll this out. But we have some 2 opportunities. We're partnering with District 2 Community Council and Councilmember Yang's office. One of them will be on Saturday, May 22nd from 9 to noon at Hayden Heights Recreation Center. And then we'll also be offering a virtual conversation on Tuesday, May 25th. I wanted, again, really leveraging our ESABA family and getting the word out and the connection to community. Each one of you on this call have a vast network deeply rooted on the East Side, and we hope that you are able to help share this and promote this so we can get the word out and get all voices heard as we come to the table in this process.
Thanks,
You know,
Tanya.
and there's lots of things that we want them to think about too, Paris, that they might not like, you know, it's not just the design, it's like artwork that'll be done there, you know, the green space, the jobs, the housing. So there are so many different categories that we're going to talk about and probably, you know, end up having, you know, other groups in the future that are, you know, specifically about each topic people might be interested in. So we're counting on you, Mr. Guru.
Let's get the word out. So please do put the link to the PDF in the chat and let's spread the word, everybody. I'll also want to have those up on the ESABA calendar so that I can share about them too. So Tanya and Lori, let's work on just getting those submitted so that I've got the info to spread the word. That's great. That's totally great. And it'll also be fun to see what an event in a tent looks like these days, right? Like, and that was one of the fun things about Andria and Shateka helping kind of curate the event that they did. Like, what is a drive-up event going to look like? What is a wander-around food fest going to look like? What's an event in a tent going to look like? Let's start, you know, the Port Authority is going to start helping us with our learning about that. Let's show up and see how it goes. That's pretty exciting. Okay, other announcements. Katie, it looks like you had an announcement.
So 20 years ago, my predecessor church, which was Epworth United Methodist, started God's Closet on White Bear. It moved a few years ago, it moved back into the church building and they renamed it the Giving Rack. We just don't have the capacity to run a free store. So we are going out of business on the free store side. The church is still going to run, but we just don't have the capacity to keep a store open. But we want to, before we give everything that we have to a textile recycler, we would like to give the community one last chance to come shopping. Rosemary's been in there, it's bonkers. We have like literally so much, I mean, like thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of clothing and shoes. It's this weekend. So my scale of collaboration is not great, but if you know people who wear clothes, send them to the Beloved this Saturday. We're on the corner of Sherwood and Furness. And from 9 to 3, we'll have free clothes to anyone. We have a ton of infant clothes. We have adult clothes. We have shoes. If you have somebody who really loves Dollar Store Mermaid Barbies, we've got like a 40-gallon bucket of Dollar Store Mermaid Barbies. It's weird. It has, you know that room in Harry Potter, the room of requirements, where every time you go in, you find what you need? It's like the opposite of that. Every time I open a closet, I find something that I am just curious about. There are some really nice things. Like there's some designer clothes, there's some really good clothes, some like barely used newborn stuff. There is something for everyone. Yesterday I had a social worker come in who's working with men, and she said, you know, I have a guy who's starting a construction job and needed steel-toed boots, and not only did you have steel-toed boots, but you had them in his exact size. So it was just one of those things where like, wow. So I do really believe that we have something for everybody. if you're looking for a SpongeBob SquarePants baking pan, we have that. If you're looking for a gallon of creepy 1970s Easter bunnies, we have that. But we also have like a Kate Spade purse, or like really, you know, like tons of jeans and sweaters and sweatshirts. And 1965 Sherwood. I'll try to I'll send an email to the nonprofit list later today. And it's on the ESABA website,
Also,
or it's on the events thing, I think.
It's on the ESABA events website at the moment. And I wonder if we need anything else to add there, or if you're doing anything on Facebook with it,
event.
Katie. It
Yeah,
like
I could send you the link to the Facebook event if you'd like.
Yeah, do that. Pop that in the chat right now and let.
There are a lot of new pajamas.
There are a lot of new pajamas. New
Northeast
underwear.
Seniors had acquired our own horde of brand new pajama sets, and so we are sharing those.
Share the love.
We've supplied many of the elders on the east side with new pajamas, and still had just bins full. So, and a lot of that was from other partners from when we have done stuff over the holidays. And the ones that haven't gone, we've just saved, and it's kind of the same thing. We're cleaning out, and it's a COVID blessing.
What an awesome opportunity. So I see Betsy Malry-Voss on from Southeast Community Organization. Betsy, this would be a great thing to have you also help us blast. And Yolanda Davis, one of my favorite community connectors, is on. She said she's on the phone listening. Yolanda, this would be a great thing for you to blast. I'll send the link to you in an email, Yolanda and Betsy.
Yeah.
Let's get the word out through our community councils. District 2 would be great too. I'll get it to Lisa today also.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, we're making room. We're going to be, and this will be kind of a longer range plan, but we're going to be a McVeigh Youth Partnership site, which is a endowed program through Hamline University that matches Hamline University students with middle school and high school youth on the east side.
Oh, fantastic.
So we will be an after school program site 3 nights a week for the 2021-2022 school year. So
okay, it'll be fun to learn about that, Katie.
So that might be a fun thing for like future collaboration, but we want to get rid of the store so we can have space for kids. So
makes sense. Totally makes sense. I have a couple of announcements in the chat as well, and then Andrea, I will make you the host so that you can share the screen that you wanted to in a minute to close out. Oh, Lori says you can post on the Nextdoor app as well. That's a fantastic idea. Totally great idea. Yes, District 1, knock it out. That's a great idea. There are 4 deadlines, or there are a couple things I just want to make you aware of. Cultural Star deadline is May 14th, so that's tomorrow. If you know anybody that's working on a Cultural Star application, you know that they've been doing interviews and things like that. That will be coming. Anyway, STAR interviews have been going on this week. That's a fantastic program. We often feature the Neighborhood Star, and we had a meeting with them a couple of weeks ago. Cultural Star is focused on nonprofits and cultural organizations that are really working on enhancing our neighborhoods. So that deadline's coming up for the city. Last week's meeting, the arcade and East 7th Street conversations that we had, the interactive map and the survey that they're doing on those, deadline for that is May 14th. So that's tomorrow as well. So if you want to comment, that public comment period is also ending tomorrow. Then we'll move into the next stage of that but I just wanted to make you aware of that. ESABA is on its way to Vegas. I don't know, we're taking the love of the East Side out to the Western deserts. We're doing it in October, and if anybody wants to come to Vegas and has, never been with Steve Ledeen, which I've never been with Steve Ledeen, the president of ESABA, it's a blast. Terry's been with Steve Ledeen. Fantastic. It's going to be fun. We're doing it as a 30-year anniversary perk, kind of an exciting option, in combination with the Schweitz's Bar Reunion, which, if anybody knows Brunson's, Schweitz's was the original iteration of Brunson's. And so Molly, one of the Brunson's owners, is leading a group of old timers from Schweitz's to Vegas to experience that Steve Ledeen in Vegas action. So it's going to be a blast. Check it out. If you want more information, you can let me know about that. And then I've got one more thing. Oh, Elaine, we talked about vaccination bus. the last thing I wanted to do was just let you know that we're going to be having a great conversation about equity in the coming weeks. A new member, Guild Incorporated, is going to talk a little bit about what they do inside their organization to work on equity. And we're going to use it as a springboard to talk about how we should focus this conversation on the East Side for businesses, for organizations. What should be our current conversation and how do we push that forward? So it's coming. It'll either be next week or the following week. So be watching for Eastside Connect. Equity, serving your customers well, takes understanding. So we're gonna be kicking that conversation off too. Lori says Southeast Community Organization will host a Highwood Performance Series. Oh, that's fantastic. You did that a couple years ago. Kind of kicking that off. Fridays in June. All right. Great. Send us the information. We'll post it. All right, everybody. Any final thoughts or final? Yes, Rebecca.
Hey there. I just have a question. I need to circle back to the Hillcrest planning. Really quickly. One or two organizations that I am on or associated with have voiced concern that there isn't enough community input. Therefore, it is very important that that we take advantage of these things that have been offered, these community events where we can get our voices heard, because we are not hearing enough from the BIPOC community for this development. We are not hearing enough from the elders in the community. There is going to be a senior high-rise there, but what is that going to look like? You know, Rosemary, we need your voice in that, and your input and your ability to pull in seniors from your area. And I can't emphasize how important it is to do this, because it's green space, it's jobs, it's transportation, it's, all these things and all these, companies that are going to come in and provide employment, that we need them to employ people from the East Side first, not, from other areas. Vomela was supposed to be doing that. I don't know if there's a check that says, they are doing that, or they did follow through on that. So I'm not casting aspersions on them. I'm just saying that there's nowhere that I can check where that, that has happened. So it's very, very important that we, get our voices heard and talk about it. So just to let you guys know.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. Could not echo that large enough, and that is why we're here to have, and I really can't thank you enough for reiterating the importance of being engaged and helping to shape and form the future of it. So hope anybody spread the word amongst your networks, and we're excited to host and to partner and to work together on this initiative and moving this forward. So thank you.
Thanks.
So one other moment just about that. It looks like Yolanda popped in. Can Hillcrest set up a booth at the food truck event?
Maybe.
Right. So that's an interesting idea. Here's one of the issues that I just see, like this weekend, May 15th, Katie's giving away millions of pounds of clothing. Can we advertise for this Hillcrest input session at that kind of event? Yes, I think we should. What are the ways we get flyers out to that, or how would you want to do that? I mean, I think that's a direct connection right there between Lori, Tanya, and Katie. Like, how can we promote people giving their input? We'll hopefully see 1 million of them on Saturday, or Katie's going to have a lot of things she's got to take back to her own closet. Right. Yeah, no, she doesn't look excited about that. So can we make that connection so that, I don't know, Tanya, if you've got a couple hundred flyers, or if that's the way the Port Authority would like to do it.
I do have digital copy. I don't have any printed out flyers at this juncture now in the age of COVID and digital era. I do have obviously a PDF or a flyer that we'd be delighted to share. We've been pushing quite a bit of this. Our Andria Novak on our team handles much of our marketing. Again, I know we've done some targeted social media pushes too of unsolicited. So you may be seeing, those of you who are in a geographical area on Facebook, you might be seeing some of these just kind of come through, because we are also trying to reach people where they're at sometimes too, which is on their phones to get the word out. But absolutely, if it's a matter of us printing out a few hundred flyers to get dropped off to somebody, we can do that.
So Katie just said she could print it out if we send the PDF. So I will talk with Andria and about doing that. and even investigate if we can print some.
If you could print, that would help my very, very low budget organization out. But
Okay, so I will see if we can print it out. And I actually don't live very far from your organization, Katie. So
Great.
I will see what I can do and try and set that up and make it happen, okay?
So here's one more idea, and I see Darren Varley on this call. I don't see a QR code on that flyer. You know, in the age of digital, Tanya, exactly what you're saying. Like, if there was a QR code, you could also direct people as they pick up stuff. Hey, you know, just QR this as you go and give us some input, you know, or find out more about giving us some input would be another way to have an opportunity there to connect them directly to your input site, Tanya.
Thank you. Thanks, Darren, for that recommendation.
You're welcome. Just if you need any help making one, there's lots of online resources. You can just generate one very, very easily. So
we'll bring that back to Andrea.
And then that might be a way that you've got flyers, but you've also got a way, hey, just take a picture of this right here, give us some input, you know, or learn about how we're giving some input. That would be great.
And Tanya or Paris, have you guys sent that flyer out in our ESABA email at all? Or did I miss that?
We haven't, quite honestly. I'll be very, you know, we're family here. The Port Authority, we had to stand, you know, as you know, the city has been running the master planning and the community engagement process. We have had some very fortunate opportunities to have some conversations on the community level with various partners, and certainly saw a need and a more intentional community engagement process. So we didn't get the blessing from the city for us to kick off this aspect of it until late last week. So we're hitting the ground running on this, and kind of really want to be intentional, really are looking at partnering, working closely with Eastside Funders Collaborative, understanding on how we can get creative to really get that grassroots community engagement. We had a great opportunity to meet with Maggie from Lower Failing Creek Project to really understand that was a model of good community engagement there. So we're eager to do this. So no, William, the flyer is just fresh and new off the press.
Yeah, well, when you're ready, get it out to the ESABA email, and then we can distribute it. And I would most likely attend something like that, just to be in person again, doing an in-person event.
He wants to be under the tent. You had him at tent.
You had me at outside of my home.
You had me at outside of my home.
Wants to be under the tent with us. Then we serve mini donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So fantastic. Andrea, I want to give you the final word here if I can. Let's figure out if I can do it. Thanks, everybody. Any final thoughts as we're signing off? Andrea just wanted to thank all of the folks that helped with her collaboration, which I think is a great way for us to go out and a good image for us to go out on. So I'll make Andrea the host. And you can share your screen now, Andrea. Just thank you, everybody, for a great conversation. And Tanya and Lori, thanks for bringing an immediate thing we could collaborate on. I mean, that's also the beauty of this kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm excited about this, but it'll take a long time before we get something else in focus. No, we got a lot of things we can put in focus right now. Andrea, go ahead.
Okay, so here's our slide. I just wanted to thank everybody again for being an awesome contributor to our I Heart Mom event. And yeah, you can call it I Heart Mom. So just thank you. And this will be on social media. And if you all need this, you know, for things that you're doing as well to show that you were a part of this event, feel free to reach out to me and I can get you a copy as well. So thank you. And thank you, Paris, for letting Shateka and I share our success and our story with you all today.
Thanks for being a part of it, everybody. We'll see you next week. We'll be looking for flyers and whatnot. Andrea, would you make me the host again, and I'll gather up the chat. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, I think it's back on you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks, Paris. Bye.
Bye.